Hey everyone, my guest today is Kelsie Watts, who is currently starring on Broadway in the musical Six, where she plays Jane Seymour, who is the third wife of King Henry VIII. Her musical journey began in Lubbock, Texas, where she found her voice at 2 years old in a family filled with musicians. Her self-released music led to a feature on AJ McLean's 2020 single, Hurts to Love You, while her viral rendition of Kelly Clarkson's I Dare You on The Voice season 19 earned her a spot on Team Kelly. And it says millions on the bio, gazillions of views. She performed with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and as an independent pop artist, Kelsie continues to inspire with her music and advocacy. With her TikTok following of close to 2 million followers, including me, her platform allows her to bring her unique gifts into our lives daily. And today I get to talk with this beautiful artist about her new life on Broadway, what it's like living in New York City, I think for the first time. Welcome, Kelsie, to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, what an intro. Goodness gracious. Thank you.
Girl, it's all you. It's really extraordinary. I mean,
Crazy.
everyone talks about this idea of an overnight success, but in my having the privilege of deep diving into
Mhm.
your life and your history as an artist, to the rest of us, it feels like an overnight sensation, viral
Right.
craziness, but you have been building with such integrity and discipline for so long as
Yes.
an artist. And I want to sort of start with today and then we can work backwards. Um, it is really incredible to have seen you in Six the other night. It is such a remarkably fresh, fun, new take on how to learn history and have the best time ever at the same time. How
Yeah.
are you adjusting to an 8 show a week schedule? It's not that you haven't performed in a heavy lift before, while also moving your entire life across the country, which is a whole other set of skills that one needs to
Yeah.
have. So I'm turning off my mic and I want the Kelsie
Yeah.
Watts TED Talk about what it is like to be Kelsie today.
Oh my gosh. No, girl, please don't turn off your mic. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. It's been wild, like truly wild. I keep making a joke that once we actually only have an 8 show week, I'm gonna be thriving. Because right now, I mean, we opened February 19th, but even still, I mean, we have rehearsals, different original like directors keep coming in, which is amazing. We have performances, press events, photo shoots on top of my own stuff. So my own press, my own writing sessions, recording, photo shoot, like all kinds of things. Um, and then you also have the 8 shows a week. So I'm like, it's such a blessing and it's also just a whirlwind. I keep saying my life is maybe going to slow down to a blur soon. Um, but
We'll take it. A blur would be
I'll
more
take it.
relaxing.
I'll take
Yeah.
I'll take the blur. But I'm so grateful. It has been a whirlwind in the best way. Um, I'm just now kind of finally settled in the apartment. My husband moved up with me and we finally have everything taken care of in Nashville. We got the house rented out and all the stuff put into storage and then just bought like Wayfair furniture to like, the kind that you like assemble with a little key. Like so
Yes.
we're just doing that, full New York living, never lived here before. Never done musical theater before. I mean, not outside of, high school. So um it has
Let me
been
ask you, having
yeah,
done a musical in high school and
yes.
doing a musical now on Broadway, what's the same and what is different?
I think everything is different. Um, the first musical I really did was we did South Pacific in high school. And I've still, oh my gosh, I had never acted a day in my life. So I guarantee you it was not great. Uh, but getting into Six, the caliber at which you're on, I think it was Nicole Scherzinger that I saw said the other day Broadway is like the Olympics of musicians. Like it really is, especially for the singers and the dancers. You are just on this crazy schedule where you're consistently on top of doing other things with it. Doing 8 shows a week is a lot. So it is I'm very grateful that our show's only an hour and a half. I can't imagine being in one that's like 3 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I mean, I'm like, this is great, but we're also, we don't leave the stage pretty much for the whole hour and a half. You're dancing in 3-inch heels for the entire time and running around and lots of micography, and your cardio definitely gets up there. But um it's it's a blast. Like I remember it being fun whenever I was a kid, but being able to do it as an adult and at the caliber with the people that are as talented as they are, like it's just such a blessing. It's the coolest thing ever.
Did you did you know Okay, let me ask you this. In watching previous interviews that you did, you
Mhm.
used the word like boot camp for six and different
Yes.
sort of audition processes and workshops, and this was not something I was familiar with. So, can you talk a little bit? I know it's such a like beautiful journey that you sort of auditioned for this thing a few times and it kind of came at the time that was meant to be your time. But I would
Yes.
love to just know a little bit more about what that all looked like. Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean, boot camp? Like, there are those reality shows like Who's the Next Elle
Yeah.
Woods kind of thing.
Right,
Is
right, right,
it
right.
is it like that? And how is it different from like The Voice, the pressure when you were on The Voice and that kind of,
Oh gosh.
you
Yeah.
know, reality show where you're performing?
Yeah, I would say it's so at the beginning, the first time that I went into audition for six, so I had an immense amount of pressure. Honestly, I think more pressure than The Voice, because whenever I went on The Voice, I went on knowing this is not gonna, like, I'm not gonna make it from this show. This is going to be something that I hopefully can use to catapult my career using social media and getting visibility, lots of exposure. So I really just had to treat it as another gig. I was like, all right, if I make it, great. If I don't, it's fine. Um, with Broadway, it was more of like a reality that I was like, wait a second, this is a job, a very elite job. And so it was something that I really wanted, but I'd never had the opportunity to audition for, be a part of, train in. I mean, like none of that. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck am I going into? But Roberta Duchak, who's the musical supervisor director of Six, she came to see a show that I was in, and not for me specifically, but she just happened to be there. And at the meet and greet, she came up and gave me her card and was like, "Hey, we're casting for this new Broadway show. It was before COVID, like in 2020, and um, she was like, I'd love to chat with you." And at the time, I had no idea who she was, like truly had no idea. I didn't know I was speaking to a living legend. And then after I had texted her, I figured that out and I was like, oh, but I texted her like maybe a couple hours later and was like, hey, oh my gosh, I love this show. Listen to the West End casting recording, because that's all that existed at the time, and fell in love with the show. And so her and I started building a relationship, and she walked with me through The Voice actually. And we like she would help me with different songs that I was given during the audition process, vocal health, things like that. And so we just kept a relationship going. And then it was after The Voice, like end of 2020, I think beginning of 2021. I get my years confused. But she called and was like, "Hey, we would love to bring you in for an audition. Like it's a callback, so would you like just come into the callback with everybody?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I went to Chicago with my husband, and we just took like a little trip, and we were like, "Well, cool." And I made it through. They were like, "We would love to see you in New York." So then I went to New York, and I mean, to give you context, my brain, my non-musical theater brain is like, "Oh my gosh, well, clearly they called me. Like this has to be it. Like obviously I'm gonna LOL, no. Got cut." And
Like,
I didn't even.
what is that like got cut? Can you just describe what you had to do on that day and then
Yes.
how you found out you got cut?
Yes. So, honestly, the audition process for Six is very enjoyable. Like, it's a lot of fun. I was recently told that it was different than the audition process than how it is now. Like, then we had to audition in front of the other girls that were also up for the same part. So
Oh,
we had to do, yeah, it was petrifying. Okay. So we, you would be in a big room and sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
yay.
You would be in a big room and the choreographer would teach you a couple of different combos and you would learn the choreography. So we learned apart from Get Down, and then we also learned apart from No Way, and then also apart from All You Want to Do. And so there are three completely different dance styles, and we would learn one, and then we would maybe like for 30 minutes, and then they would put us in groups of three. And in the groups of three, we would be filmed twice doing it. And then we would go to the next combo and do the same thing, and then go to the next combo and then do the same thing. And then we would do like a cut from the song that we're called for. At the beginning, I was called for both Seymour and Parr the very, very
Okay.
first time. So filmed both of those, like you're performing to them and you are filmed each time. And then they also do the same for the acting portion. Okay, because they have to send these videos to the UK where
Got it.
the head team is, and they have to approve all of the casting, from what I understand. That's what I gathered.
When you came in for that audition that we're talking about, was the show,
Yeah,
had the show already opened on Broadway and they were looking for a replacement cast, or was this the first round?
this was for the tour. So
Okay,
they had already opened the original cast had already like been cast, and then it shut down because of COVID, and then they were on their way, and then they were casting for the tour.
got it.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool, cool, like great, this is for a tour. Again, my non-musical theater brain did not know what any of this like really meant, but I was like, oh great, of course I'm gonna get it, duh.
Sure.
LOL. Well, so I get through to in New York. We do the same thing in New York, just with a smaller group of people, and there's more people, like there's more people behind the chair
Got
watching.
it.
Okay.
Got it.
Um, well, so I go back to the hotel and I was like, hey, I think that went really well. And I get an email saying, thank you so much for coming to audition, but unfortunately, you're not going to continue on to the final callback tomorrow. And I was devastated, like devastated. And I think more so because I was like, gosh, this would have been a job. Like for me, it wasn't just, oh, this is Broadway. For me, it was, this could be the coolest job ever to be able to do, but it would help me support my own music without me having to bartend, you
Right.
know?
Because
And
you were
so,
still doing a day job or a night job, quote
oh yeah, I
unquote,
know,
at
day
that
job
point.
and night job. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was crazy. So I mean, yeah, so it would have been stability for me,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So it wasn't just like, oh, I just like want to be on Broadway. It's this epic dream and I just want to like say I did it. No, for me, it was like financial stability that I was like, wait, this could be it. Because at the time, my husband, who's an immigrant, now he just got his citizenship. But he wasn't legally allowed to work at the time because he had just come over to the States, didn't have a green card. Like, so I mean, he had his practice in South Africa still, but and it was during COVID, so I didn't have a job. He didn't have a job. Like, it's by the
Wait,
grace of
how
God.
did you meet Brandon, who I got to meet the other day, which was
Oh
so
man.
exciting because you guys are on my phone every day. I'm watching your
Yeah.
content. How did you and Brandon? And I want to ask you about that because in earlier TikToks, and thank you
Mhm.
for placing his beautiful accent for me,
Yes. Yes, yes,
he's
yes.
in Scrubs. So is his career? How did you meet this South African artist slash something that wears scrubs? Talk about
I know.
Brandon.
Crazy enough, we met at a convention in Florida. My boss had brought a group over from South Africa. And we just became friends and talked, kept in touch for like 6 months while he was back in South Africa and I was in the States. And then we didn't talk again for 8 years.
What
And
kind of convention, may I ask?
oh, it was like a talent development thing where you like, because he's not a singer professionally, but he does sing and like has a beautiful voice. And so at the time, that's what he was pursuing as well.
Okay.
This was back in, gosh, 2010. I mean, so we had hung out there for just a little bit and then didn't talk again for 8 years, really. And he sent me a message, gosh, 2018, 2019, and was like, hey, if you're ever in South Africa, would love to buy you a cup of coffee. But I ended up going to South Africa and
So like cheaptickets.com.
I know, literally,
Flight
I was like, oh, sweet. And so I hung out with him. I stayed with him and his parents, and he had just opened up his own medical practice in neurophysiology. And so he was staying with his family, and we actually started hanging out, and I loved his family, and I got to see South Africa, and plot twist, fell in love. And he that was in 2019. In February, he came to visit in the States in April, bought a ring, and then came back in May and proposed. And then we planned 2 weddings in 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
And he has
insane.
been, it's interesting when you talk about, you know, all the jobs one works as they are creating their own art and putting it out in the world.
Yeah,
You, there's this feeling that people who go viral can then support themselves with various sponsorships that come
right,
through their viral pages, right?
right.
So it sounds like that didn't happen overnight, where suddenly,
Not.
I mean, hashtag Wayfair, whose furniture you do use.
Yeah,
Um, Talk to me. I want to hit pause for a minute because it's been so sweet the way you and Brandon share little snippets of your lives with people who watch you on, Instagram or TikTok or all
yeah,
the
yeah,
places
yeah.
that you post. Um, Talk about this expression going viral. It's what everybody who wants to get their work out in the world and in front of more people hope for. Can you
Right.
talk a little bit what it was like for you to go, oh wait, I'm one of those people. This is happening. Because I know anyone I speak to, it was a completely organic experience that you can't
Oh, good.
manufacture it. It has to be really
Yeah.
authentically you. Can you talk a little bit about what that was for you,
Yeah. I
the
mean,
how of it?
yes. So this was actually totally separate from anything six related, because once I got cut the first time from six, I was like, clearly it's not meant to be. But I chose to email the casting director, Peter Van Dam at the time, and was like, hey, what can I do to be better? Like what is it that would make me better and all around it? And he was like, if you could work on your acting, that would be great. And I was like, that's totally fair. I've never acted a day in my life. So amazing. So he gave me an acting coach. I started working with him, named Benji Shaw. And then I also started working with my friend Natalie Aaron, who's a choreographer and dancer in Nashville. And so I was just like making sure that all of my skills were being consistently worked on. And that's what a lot of people don't see through social media, is you doing the work behind the scenes. And when I'm working a day job, all of the money that I'm making from this bar, not only to live, but I'm putting back in to myself, paying for lessons, paying for opportunities, paying for flights, like paying for producers and all of these things. So that's where half of the stress comes in, is just trying to be able to afford the career that you're trying to build, you know?
Right, right,
It's like being an entrepreneur just for yourself. And so with social media, you can have a lot of visibility from that. And funny enough, the general public, and I used to be one of these people, but assumes that, well, if you have 1 million, 2 million followers, 3 million followers, you must be a millionaire.
right.
And that's not the case.
Like each
Now,
follower is a dollar.
yeah,
Right.
if only, if I could get every one of my followers to Venmo me $1, I would be sitting pretty. I'd be like, all
Right.
right,
You heard it here first.
see you later.
It's a really honest request.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
It's fair.
Um, but whenever we started really pursuing social media, it was in 2023. I'd been called in twice for six at that point. Had made it to the final round. The second time I got called to New York, had made it to the finals. They sent my stuff to the UK. For whatever reason, didn't get cast. But they were also calling me for a different part at the time.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you, because a lot of people who listen to this,
Yeah.
they're either absolute lovers of the performing arts or
Yeah.
they are doing it themselves. And it's really hard. It's like when someone breaks up with you and then they like call you back months later and they're like, you know what? Wait, I've had some time to think. How did you let, I'm picturing you with like tears streaming down your face with
Yeah.
integrity, emailing the casting director, going, no, it's totally fine. I get it. What can I work on? Right. And then
Yeah.
picking yourself up by the bootstraps and going,
Yep.
okay, that's actually, I'm going to take my ego out of it. That's fair. I
Yes.
wanted to be a savant who automatically knew how to be a perfect actress. Okay, I'm
But I'm not.
human.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. I'm going to work on that. But then they call you again. And is it because it was a different part that you could go, oh, well, it's a different part? Like, how did you kind of check in with yourself and your ego and go, I'm going to put myself in this very vulnerable position again? Like, how did you
Yeah.
talk to yourself about it?
Yeah, honestly, for me personally, I know a lot of different people have a lot of different beliefs. But I personally have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that is what really shapes the way that I look at a lot of life and timing for my life. So I was honestly just grateful they even called again because that showed me, okay, I'm still on their radar. I know that the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. And if I'm supposed to be there, then I'm supposed to be there, you know? And so really after the first time of being like, gosh, okay, Kelsie, check yourself. The second time I got called and still didn't get it, I was like, okay, God, I guess this is supposed to be something different. You know, I guess I'm not supposed to be in it. And that was okay. At that point, that was okay because I was like, well, I'm still working on myself. I have this really great support system. I'm still working on these other aspects of my life. And if Broadway is not meant to be a thing, then it's not, and that's okay.
So be it.
Yep.
Right.
And then so be it. That's okay. Yeah.
Gosh, to have a faith-based life
Yeah.
and really for it to work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? For you really to be able to handle, to hang on to it, not when just things are going good for you,
Yeah.
but to really
Yeah.
believe that it's all going to be what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
That's an incredible thing. And I think what's interesting is it didn't stop you from having all the feelings about not getting the thing.
Mhm.
It doesn't make you immune to disappointment. It just,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
But it
Right, right, right.
allows you to keep moving forward and find strength to move forward, even when it doesn't go the way you think it's meant to be.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, at the time it wasn't the right time. And that was
Right.
okay. And if I'm being real, I probably would not have pursued social media as intensely as I have now if I had gotten that. I may not have pursued my artistry at all, like if that would have been my thing. So it really is it's a way that I've chosen to look at life, especially after losing my brother. I really had to choose to look at life in a, this may have happened, but this can also happen. Like two things can exist at the same time. I can be
Yeah.
disappointed that I didn't get the role and be disappointed that I didn't get put on a tour of, the first national tour of this epic Broadway musical. And I can still be excited for whatever is coming as well, you know? So, so that was really, it was okay. I was still disappointed, of course. But after I got rejected the first time, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's fine. Um, and then when they called the third time, I
You're
really
like, guys,
I did I know.
have I not shown? I feel like I
I
kind of did
know.
all the things.
I know it's so funny. Well, and what's funny is by this time I'm not expecting it. Like I was really working hard on my social media. Things had started like really taking off and I'd started, brand deals come in and, that was helping support me on top of the bartending. And then I'm getting all of this visibility. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And then six calls again. And I was like, LOL, what? Like what? And this is when they invited me to come to the boot camp. And
And
so
are you paying for your own flight each time you do this, or did they pay for it?
until the boot camp, yes, I was. So for all of the other auditions, yes, own flights, own hotel, because I mean, I don't live in New York, you know? So for the boot camp, they did fly me in. They did pay for the hotel, which was super kind. And this is when they only called me for Seymour. They had just called me for Seymour at this point. And it was a week long of that audition process that I kind of explained earlier. But there were like 3 or 4 of us per part that were all there. A couple were called for alternates, like multiple parts. But there would be days we spent longer on the choreography. Some days it was just one-on-ones where we worked just with Roberta on the music, or we worked just on the acting. And then by the end of the week, we film it, they have a new tape and all of that. So again, by this point, I really didn't think it was gonna be anything for me. I just took it as, wow, I just got this amazing education for free
Right.
from these top tier people in this industry that I've always had such a love and respect for. And I didn't hear anything for like a year. And I didn't accept, yeah, I know. This is 2023. So I mean, I really like I didn't, and I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I would talk to Roberta on like, DMs on Instagram or randomly say hi, but I'm not talking to her about business,
So you
like,
don't bring it up. She
no, gosh,
doesn't
no, I'm
bring
not
it
gonna be
up.
like, hey girl.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other people involved in casting. And so I was like, if this is a thing, great. If not, oh well. But I was so focused on everything else I was working on,
Yeah.
um, that I wasn't concerned. I had been able to like really support myself financially with the bar, which as exhausting as it was. Downtown Nashville is bananas, and it's tourism every single day, and so you're working all the time. And I was so grateful that it financially supported not only my life but also my career. And um, I get a call, what, August of last year? And it was like, hey, this isn't an offer.
No,
But
of course not.
why not? Well, yeah, yeah, I know. They're
Why
like,
would it be
but
an-
they were like, but would you be like, we have a spot opening up on Broadway in New York in January. Would you even be interested? Is this something you're even still interested in? Like, this is how long it had been since I'd spoken to them, like
Right.
about anything professionally. And I told my manager, I was like, duh, of course I'm interested. How much fun would that be? Like, I'm not gonna say no to Broadway. That's amazing. Um, and then I still didn't think anything was gonna come of it. Truly, by this point, I'd allowed myself to just kind of like put it one side. And I was like, if that happens, great. If not, like that, no, oh well. So much so to where my husband and I closed on a house in Nashville in October because I was like, this isn't, no, it's not gonna be a thing. I'm about to go on
We've
tour
been
with,
down this road.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm about to go on tour with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, like, gonna be great. And then I'm gonna come back. I'd already decided I was quitting the bar and I was just going to pursue like social media and music full time, starting in January. And literally 3 days later, Brandon and I are picking out blinds for the house in Home Depot, and my manager calls. I was like, guess what? And I look at Brandon and I was like, oh my gosh, we're moving to New York. What the heck? I mean, like, so when I tell you it's like a whirlwind of just the whole process, you're exactly right. Like at the beginning when you said it seems like it's an overnight thing, but it's really, really not an overnight thing. Um, there's a lot that goes into compounding. And I guarantee you, had I not worked on my skills and myself and, my other parts of artistry, they probably wouldn't have kept calling me. They
Right.
wouldn't have been like, hey, so, but I also understood like for the people that you said listen to this and they're like, oh, they want it so badly and they keep working, and why doesn't it happen? A lot of times it's who also you're being cast with. It's like they're looking at personality dynamics, and crazy enough, they kept calling me for par because that's what they needed at the time, and it didn't fit me best.
Right.
Seymour fit me best. And that's what they were like, no, like we'd rather have you for that. But they didn't tell me that at the time. Like,
I know we don't get to have all the information that, and
no, what?
we feel
Yeah,
it
there's
in
so many of us.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yes. And so I think it's so easy at the beginning to be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? And you didn't, nothing. Like it just wasn't right at the time. There are so many roles that I probably would not be great for. That, other people would be like, oh yeah, you should go do this. And I'd be like, I don't think they cast me for that.
Yeah. That won't fit.
Based
Right.
on just personality alone. I don't know. But that doesn't mean that you're not good or really awesome at what you do. It just means that that's not the right fit at the right time. And that's
Talk to me
okay.
about, just to go back to the viral of it all. For
Yeah.
people, for the one person listening who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Kelsie sings to us as she goes about her mornings mostly. Sometimes
Yep.
Brandon, her incredible husband, who I got to meet the other day, is in the scene with her, or you might see him walking through the room, but it really is like people living at home. And then there's sort of a karaoke version of some song from some genre that you love more than anything and can't imagine someone doing as well as or better as the original artist. And then Kelsie opens her mouth in this unbelievably relaxed, open way, and out of her mouth comes like a sound that is so godly in
No,
its
thank you.
talent and beauty. And it could be country, it could be rock, it could be, jazz, it could be pop, it could be Broadway. I mean, it really is. I'm sure I left out some genre, but
Yeah,
you
I
get
did.
the
That
point.
was
Covered
so
most of
sweet.
them.
Thank you.
So also, you can see her singing on The Voice and sort of singing Kelly Clarkson to Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly having a heart attack at how
Mhm.
she thinks Kelsie sang her better than her. So, talk to me about what's changed things on the internet for you, the going viral. What does that look like to you in real time?
Honestly, in real life, it's actually hit me harder recently because I keep getting recognized on the streets of New York, and
Wow.
not from Six the Musical, but from my TikToks, and it's the coolest thing. I'm like, what? This is crazy. Um, but I'm getting to like connect with these people in real time, in real life, and I love whenever people say hi. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, of course we can take a picture. Yeah, like I may look like a troll, like walking like from a
You're
rehearsal.
welcome.
But I'm like, but honestly, that's half of the reason that most of my TikToks are in my kitchen of me just existing, that I'm not done up all the time, that I am just like, I love to be transparent of like, yes, I love getting done up and I love having a full face of makeup on and epic clothes, but I also like, this is me as a human. And I feel like that's what people relate to. So whenever I see somebody on the street and they're like, I have more people tell me often than not, oh my gosh, you're just like in your video. You're just like it. And I was like, thank God. Cause yeah, because I mean, I really am. Like that's really who I am. And so it's been interesting. Like, yes, there are brands, like really cool brands that have reached out and really awesome like opportunities that have come along. But I think the thing that catches me the most is being recognized by complete strangers and being able to like connect with them in real time. Because it then reminds me, oh my gosh, like this is what it's about. This is why I'm actually doing music. This is why I sing. This is why I perform, is because it brings people joy, like it
Yeah.
brings people joy.
And also, when you talked about your brother, and I appreciate you sharing that, Kelsie wrote a really beautiful ballad called I Can't Say Goodbye, which is in honor. Can I ask you what his name was?
Yeah, Jordan.
Jordan. So it's a
Jordan.
song for
Yeah.
Jordan. I'm sure
Yeah.
all of the songs are for Jordan in some way.
Yeah. In some way.
Um,
Yeah.
but it also is a place for people who also are grieving,
Yeah.
to connect, and through your music and through your honesty about
Right.
what happened in your life and what it is to bear that kind of loss and walk through the world with that
Mhm.
kind of loss.
Yeah.
um it's a really powerful thing, and I know that you work with different organizations like Not Alone Challenge and Dee Dee Hirsch, and places that are really advocating and helping, um, the conversation about mental health in general move forward.
Yeah.
And so I am sure, I don't want to speak for you, but I can imagine having a place to have a huge reach like that must be
Yeah.
really satisfying.
Oh, it's so happy. I love like it's really cool after shows. I try to do I blah, 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 words are hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Um I try to do the stage door every show. I think there's only one that I didn't do, and it's because I had to go to physical therapy. But I really try to
Fair.
go to every single one so that way I can connect with people. And without fail, every single one, there's at least one person that says, "Hey, I follow you on TikTok and I really love what you do." And whenever I
Mhm.
have people say they've lost their like a family member, like I had a guy tell me the other day he lost his brother and he really appreciates my song I Can't Say Goodbye. I mean, it's things like that that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes." Like it really is so satisfying because that's what my music is for. Like I have a new song that we're working on the release right now, but it's called Fit In. And it's for people who've never felt like they have a place to belong. Like I was never the cool kid. I wasn't invited to the parties. I never had a date to prom. I didn't have a boyfriend. Like I wasn't the cool kid ever. And I never felt like I really had a place like a sense of belonging like where I wanted to, where I thought it was cool, you know? Um and so when I was working on this song, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what it needs to be. That's what it needs to be, is be like, why fit in when you already do? Like you already fit in because you are yourself. And I think that's something that's so beautiful about the show that I'm in now too, is because it really does, like, it works so well together. Like that's why it's just such a blessing to be able to have like my music stand for the same things that the musical that I'm in also stands for. And it's bringing like a community together and letting them know that you're loved and you have a place to belong. And so, yeah, meeting these people in real time truly is like the greatest gift. It's the coolest thing.
Can I ask you a very granular question about your show? And then I want to let you go shortly because I
Yeah,
know
yeah, of
there's a
course.
lot on your plate.
Yeah,
So, for people who haven't seen it yet, first of all, go to YouTube or download the cast recording because the music is so much fun
it's
and
so
it
fun.
really
Yeah.
is, it's so girl power and humanity power, right? It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
about
yeah.
and it's such an insanely just historically, it's such a kind of cruel time period,
Yes,
especially
very.
for women.
Yeah.
And the idea that your show is able to kind of shine a light on their incredible stories, some fictional, some very real in terms of how they're telling it, but just this
Yeah.
idea of holding each other up and supporting each other.
Yep.
Um, uh, what is the actual, like, I see everyone has you have mics. There's a live band on stage with you of
Yeah.
super cool performers. What are you hearing? Is that a click track? Like, what is in your ear?
Oh, yeah. Like in
What
our
are
in-ear
you
monitors?
hearing in your earpiece while you do the show?
Yeah. So, okay. So I actually came in very grateful for that because I am very used to using in-ear monitors and microphones and all of that. And the other girls had never done it before. They'd never used it. So it was
Right.
a
Well, they're
complete
not
new.
pop stars.
Well, I know, right. But it was a complete, whereas the whole show for me was a learning curve. That part, I was like, oh, thank God.
I
So we
got
kind of
this.
like helped each other out. We helped each other like adjust because I was like, wait, this I know about. This I can do.
Yes, I can
Um,
help.
I can help you there. So really like in our ears, we're hearing the band. It kind of like cancels out the regular sound of everything. Um, and you're hearing guitar, drums, bass, keys. Our piano player also has a talkback mic. So there are certain times where she'll go 1, 2, 3, and you hear that. So that way you're all on the same time.
Okay.
There's also a couple of tracks, not vocal backing tracks, but different things like a synth, different sounds that aren't created by a live band that have been formed as kind of a it's a track that is it's like a song for lack of a better word, but
But do
so
I
the track
hear that
is
in the audience or
yes, you
only
do.
I'm hearing it too?
Yeah, so like so if you remember like at the very beginning of the show, whenever you hear that sounds, things like that, that's a track.
Okay.
So
Those are
and the band is playing along.
pre-recorded.
Yes, yes,
Got
and the
it.
band is playing along to that pre-recorded track.
Okay.
So like now not the whole show isn't to track. There are some parts where it's just the band playing and then they'll click the track and then the track starts. But it's a lot of those extra like bassy like whoom 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 kind of things that you would have to have a lot. It's like a production. It's I mean a producer went in and a producer made these tracks and
Right.
they're tracks that the band plays to. Yeah. And so that's what you're hearing in your ears. And then you're able to hear yourself, adjust the other singers in your ears as well. And then you can bring in a little bit of the audience if you want. Like I personally love to hear the audience. So that way I can hear what the heck is going on. Because if it's too like this, then I'm like, it's weird to me.
How do you do that?
Um,
Literally, there's
you
like a
ask
little,
you have to ask the sound engineer. Be like, hey, can I get more of the audience in my ears? And then they'll say, yeah,
or
I
the
can.
whole show.
Yes, yeah. Now, not in this show, but in like other gigs that I've done, they can change it per song. So like if one song I want more of this person and less of this person and more of the house, and then the next song I want this and this and this, then they can change that.
Okay.
But for six, they keep it the same way the whole show.
And are your mics actually hot or is that a prop?
Oh no, no, they're hot. No, that's what we're singing in.
Okay.
You like you'll hear sometimes if a girl like takes away the mic too soon, you'll lose a word and you're like, "Oh, that's why because the mic is gone away."
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Got it, got it, got it.
Yep.
Okay. It seems like the six of you have something really special. Like this is, there have been many
Yeah.
casts. This feels like a really special one. And that, to your
Yeah.
point about them matchmaking, as it
Yeah.
were, to kind of put a company together. I got to
Sure.
see a few of you waiting to go in to see Boop the other day together, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They're like actually hanging out outside of the show.
Yep. Yeah, we really are, and everybody's great. Like truly. Nobody has an ego. There's no drama. Like it's really you just show up, do your job. Everybody's kind and supportive, and everybody's great at their own thing, and we help each other in other areas. Like if one of us feels kind of off, like I mean, it really just is a great support system for sure.
Do you remember your first night going on in front of an audience?
Oh my gosh, I was petrified.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
somehow you got your body to move on stage from off stage. It happened.
somehow, yes, and it happened, and it was the coolest thing ever. Oh my
Do
gosh.
you have a pre-show ritual that helps get you, aside from all of the extensive warm-up that I'm sure you are you
Right.
superstitious? Do you have to like touch something before going on? Do you have ritual?
I don't personally. I always, for me personally, I pray before every show, and I'm just like, Jesus, let them see you through me. It's not about me. This entire show is
Mhm.
not about me. Um, please let my voice work the way that it's supposed to work, and help me remember everything.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of my thing. But as a group, we all like will hold hands on the stage and just like take 3 deep breaths, and each one of us will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like we'll count to 6. Um, and you just kind of like feel each other out, and you're like, okay, cool, we're good, all right, we're good. Yeah, and I mean that's like the pre-show together. But
Have
yeah,
you had a crazy mishap that you survived and lived to tell the tale, or not really?
we had to stop the show the other day. That was
Why?
crazy. The
What?
lighting was going out or something. It was a couple of days ago, and all of a sudden I just hear in my ears, we finished Heart of Stone, and then we all hear in our ears as people are applauding, ladies, we're going to stop the show. We have a lighting issue. We will be halting the show. You will be exiting stage right. And people are still clapping. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
Okay.
so yes, we had to stop the show because the lighting was freaking out. And so they had to reset the whole thing. And then we started again and redid the whole show.
And I'm sure the audience loved it because they got to feel like they were part of live theater, which is why we go.
Yes.
All right,
So
before
live.
I let you go, is there a
Yeah.
little known fact about you that you can share?
A fact that like most people don't know.
Yeah,
Okay. It's not music related at all.
it can absolutely not be music related.
um, I used to fight like MMA. Um, I did
Like we have to start
Sanju.
this entire episode
I
all
know.
over
We'll
again.
talk about it another day. Um, sorry, my husband just texted me. Um, I used to do it's Sanshu, so it's like a Japanese, um, sorry, that's a lie. It's a Chinese style of fighting, that I did whenever I was, gosh, high school, early college, and then kept it up for a while and then realized I can't, get punched in the face for a living. But it's a sport that I've still really kept up and loved. Loved. I think it's so much fun. So I love doing mitt work still. I don't spar because I can't risk breaking my nose as a singer or an artist. But that is a
Right.
little fun fact. I love to kickbox and do mitt work, and if I need to hit somebody, I can. I think I would want to fight in the street if I needed to,
All
which is
right. Well, I'm
smart.
going to walk
It's
around with you.
helpful.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate that you can
Yeah,
also be my friend and bodyguard. That is a really
I
good thing
got
to
you.
know.
Yes, anytime. Yeah,
Kelsie Watts, thank you for being on the podcast. Please say hello to Brandon for me,
I
and
will. I definitely will.
I will see you soon. Bye, honey. Mwah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.